All right, finally, we're getting to what the quadratic formula is. Okay? Now, the quadratic formula, we're going to look at two different things. First of all, after this lesson, here, we're going to specifically look at discriminant, and then we'll look at using the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you do a YouTube search or a Google search and look for quadratic formula song, you'll find millions of them. Watch a couple, you'll get this down pretty quickly. Now, this should look familiar. In our last lessons, we were actually taking something like this and we were simplifying it. And you can sort of now see the connections. But I want to talk a little bit about this part here, this b squared minus 4ac. Okay, that particular part, we actually call the discriminant. Okay, so the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So I'm going to write that figure. Can't see it. This here is the discriminant. Now, what the discriminant tells us is the number of solutions, because it's what we're taking the square root of. Now, if you take, remember, it's plus or minus the square root of the discriminant. A couple things about square roots. You cannot take the square root of a negative. So if your discriminant is a negative, you cannot take the square root of it, and there'd actually be no solutions, because right there you'd be stuck. If the discriminant was positive, negative is none. The discriminant was positive, well, yeah, you can take this square root of positive, and then you add this square root of discriminant, and you subtract, which will give you two separate solutions. And the third option is the discriminant could be 0. Well, the square root of 0 is 0. Whether I add 0 or subtract 0, I'll get the same thing, so that would give me one solution. So if you know just the discriminant, you can tell how many solutions there's going to be. You will, by the way, see some SAT questions about that. So this is, if anytime you have a question that says how many solutions are there, just find b squared minus 4ac and see how many, whether it's positive, okay, and 2 solutions, negative, no solutions, or 0, 1 solution. You do not actually have to use the whole formula to find it. And that's going to be today's lesson. Now, visually, I sort of want to show you what that looks like. So visually, here's what it's going to look like. Remember, our quadratic formula equals 0. Equals 0 is basically when does it cross this axis? Well, you can have a situation where it never equals 0. Its height's always up there. You could have a situation where it comes down, hits it once, there's only one time that equals 0, or you could have a situation where it equals 0 twice. So you can see there's none, once, and twice. In this case, the discriminant would be positive, or would be negative. This case, it would be 0. And in this case, it would be positive. So that's sort of a visual of how you get your solutions. So today we're just going to look at 3 examples. And in these examples, we're going to figure out how many solutions are there. All right, example 1. You've got x squared minus 10x plus 14. Remember, b squared minus 4ac. That's all we're doing. What is discriminant? Equals, and this has to be equal to 0. Otherwise, you got to get that. So a equals 1, b equals negative 10, and c equals, ooh, pretty large number there, negative 14. So I take negative 10, which is my b squared, minus 4 times 1 times negative 14. So this would be 100. 4 times 1 times 14. By the way, this is going to be a negative number, and that'll be negative 56. So it ends up being, subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive, so it ends up being 156. So there's going to be 2 solutions. And that's all we're doing today. We'll look at actually solving this later. All right, example 2. 3x squared minus 4x equals negative x squared plus 16x minus 25. So there's a situation, it's not equal to 0. I've got to first set equal to 0. So we're going to add an x squared to both sides, subtract the 16x from both sides, and add a 25 to both sides. Add an x squared, negative 6x, and a 25 to both sides. And what I do, these will cancel out, so it's a 16, that's 6. And I'll end up with 0 on this side. Over here, I've got 2x squared plus x squared, so that ends up being 4x squared. Negative 16 and negative 4 would be negative 20x, and then this would be 25. So, negative 20 squared minus 4 times 4 times 25. Those are big numbers, but we can do these. This would be 400. Let's see, that would be 8 times 25, or 100, that would be 400. So I end up getting 0. So therefore there is one solution. A lot of times people will get 0 and be, oh, 0 means 0 solutions. All right, last example. Let's look at problem 3. Remember, if you need to, go ahead and pause the video. We're going too fast here. All right, number 3 is negative x squared plus 2x plus 2. Sorry, equals 2. All right, so I need to move this over. So I get negative x squared plus 2x minus 2 equals 0. So A equals negative 1, B equals 2, C equals negative 2. So I take 2 squared minus 4 is negative 1 and negative 2. So I get 4 minus 2, negative times negative is negative. This would be end up being 8. So I get negative 4, which is a negative, so no solutions. All right, that is the lesson for at this point. Go ahead now and you can move on to the homework.